What's good, everybody? It's your boy Brandon Scott again with Locked On Wizards. Today, we are going to talk about Jordan Poole and OG Anunoby of the Toronto Raptors. And we're going to look at their stats, their contracts, whether they would fit in DC, and what would it take to acquire these pieces. Next on Locked On Wizards.
You are Locked On Wizards, your daily Washington Wizards podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Again, it's your boy Brandon Scott again with Locked On Wizards. My guy, the real Ed Oliver, has the night off. So thank you for making Locked On Wizards your first listen every single day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. And today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use the code Locked On NBA for $20 off your first purchase. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. So today we are going to look at Jordan Poole of the Golden State Warriors and OG Anunoby of the Toronto Raptors. We're going to look at their stat line, their contracts for next season going forward. Would they, fit in DC? And what would it take to acquire them? Now, we're going to start with Jordan Poole. Now, obviously, Golden State out of the playoffs now. And, there are questions about how Golden State is going to go forward. Obviously, a lot of questions surrounding Bob Myers, the current general manager of Golden State, prospective general manager of the or a general manager target of the Washington Wizards. But, looking at, do they run it back with this core of Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green? But a key player of that team is Jordan Poole. Now, so we're going to get into what is his stat line. So looking at Jordan Poole this season, he averaged around 20.4 points a game, 2.7 rebounds, 4.5 assists. He shot 43% from field goal, 33.6 from three, and he shot 87% from free throw line. So, looking at the stats, he averaged around 20. So he can definitely put the ball on the floor. He can score. Shooting wise, can he shoot better? Yes. 30, then, you like around 35% is the average. From 3-point, he's shooting around 33.6. Field goal 43, but free throw percentage 87%. So he is a scorer. He's a combo guard. He can play the point guard. He can play shooting guard. And, looking at his contract, now he has a 4-year, $128 million contract. Let me repeat that. 4 years, $128 million contract. Now, by year one, he's going to make $27.4 million. Year two, $29.6. Year three, $31.8. And then the fourth year of his deal, $34 million. Now, would he fit in DC? Well, as we currently stand, Bradley Beal is our franchise player, Supermax player, and he currently holds the 2-guard position. Now, would we push him to point guard to make room for Jordan Poole? Would we slide Jordan Poole to point guard? I don't think that's the route if indeed Washington wanted to acquire him. Now, first of all, obviously, maybe there's a falling out with Bradley Beal, maybe he asked for a trade, but again, I don't see a scenario where Jordan Poole succeeds in DC with Bradley Beal on the roster, because again, I think he's best served at the 2-guard. And, really, hypothetically, if he replaces Bradley Beal, which, obviously there's going to be a lot of questions surrounding potential deals for Bradley Beal because he does have value and there are teams that are going to want his services. But the only scenario that I see that fits with Jordan Poole and DC is replacing Bradley Beal. And if you look at it, you average around 20 points. So scoring-wise, you're not going to miss too much. Assists, about 4.5 assists. But contract-wise, while the contract is a little steep, it's not as steep as the Supermax. So hypothetically, if you replace Jordan Poole with or if you replace Bradley Beal with Jordan Poole, you would be saving money. Now, it's not going to be a whole lot of money, but it's going to be enough to maybe be some, a little bit of wiggle room, depending on how they go forward. But, again, how would we fit him here? With Bradley Beal here, it would be hard unless they try to, again, in the mold of Spencer Dinwiddie or Monte Morris, try to make a combo guard, a point guard, and run point. And I just don't see Jordan Poole as that guy. So, but hypothetically, like I said, what would it take to acquire Jordan Poole? Well, again, I believe that I just don't see it working with Bradley Beal. So maybe, I believe it was a couple years ago, there was a trade proposal for Bradley Beal going to Golden State for the 2 picks, Andrew Wiggins, and I believe maybe James Wiseman. So, Golden State has made it known that they looked at acquiring Bradley Beal before. So sending Bradley Beal to Golden State in exchange for Jordan Poole could work. Give or take pieces here and there, but you can throw in Monte. There's a lot of options as far as salary fillers, but I think the best course of action, if you would indeed acquire Jordan Poole, it would take Bradley Beal, because again, he would be replacing him and not playing with him, because again, I don't think a combo guard is what we need in DC. So, he's intriguing. He is, but there a lot of people say he's trigger happy, very ball dominant, and we know the troubles we've had in DC last season and really the last 2 years with ball dominant, ISO heavy players. So I mean, he can definitely fill out the stat sheet. He can definitely play some basketball. He can definitely score. So if he's again, if he's replacing Bradley Beal, then it's not a bad move. But again, there's a whole lot that goes with that. Bradley Beal has to first ask for a trade. He's got to waive his no trade clause. So there's a lot that goes with it. But like I said, there are reports that links the Washington Wizards with the Golden State Warriors Jordan Poole. So, it's not out of the realm of possibilities. But again, this offseason, there's a lot that needs to happen. We need to first find a general manager, and the general manager needs to dictate a direction. So just a lot. But this is a name to kind of keep your eye on, because from the perspective of Bradley Beal, it is known that he wants the all-time Wizards scoring record, and I get it. But would he try to go to a contender after that? Who knows? When the only time will tell. But to me, that is the only realistic way to get Jordan Poole in DC, is if he's replacing Bradley Beal and not working in the backcourt with Bradley Beal. So before we move on to OG Anunoby, the small forward from the Toronto Raptors, a 3-and-D cat. Tonight's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Now, I go to games all the time, y'all. If it's baseball season, it's Orioles, Nationals, football, obviously the Commanders, basketball, the Wizards, and then spring football, it is the DC Defenders. So, how does Gametime help with that? Because I've used Ticketmaster, I've used SeatGeek. What's different about Gametime, you ask? Well, buying tickets to your favorite events shouldn't be stressful. Gametime is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all sports, music, comedy shows, and theaters near you, with killer deals and last-minute tickets and the best price guaranteed. You can stop stressing over tickets and start getting hyped for the fun you will have. Forget planning months in advance. Gametime has deals on tickets right up to the day of the event, which is key. Let me tell you. Get exclusive flash deals on tickets for football, basketball, baseball, concerts, comedy shows, theater, and more. Gametime guarantee means you'll always get the best price. And if you find tickets in the same section in row for less, Gametime will credit you 110% of the difference. Oh, yeah. Get image of the seat before you buy it, which is another key point. So you know exactly what to expect when you arrive and your point of view, and whether it's a good ticket or a good view or not. Buy tickets in a matter of seconds, 2 taps, and you are set. Tickets are sent directly to your phone, so you never have to dig through your email, which, again, a lot of stadiums and arenas are, the tickets are on the phone, so that is a convenient part too. Snag the tickets without stress of Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use promo code, Locked On NBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code Locked On for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed, y'all. And thanks for making Locked On Wizards your first listen every day. Every day is tomorrow on the show. Or rather today, when this is released, is draft lottery. So tonight, tomorrow night, depending on how you're watching this or listening to it, Tuesday night, we will be doing a live video to discuss the draft position the Wizards get and prospective prospects. So definitely tune in. But going forward this week, this is actually part 1 of Jordan Poole and OG Anunoby. This is my take. Obviously, part 2 is going to have Ed's take, and then we're going to kind of discuss and chop it up from there. So this is part 1. So definitely tune in for part 2 on Ed's take on Jordan Poole and OG Anunoby. So getting back into it, y'all, we're going to go with OG Anunoby, the small forward, the 25-year-old small forward who is currently with the Toronto Raptors. 3-and-D wing. We say a lot about 3-and-D wing. We say a lot about trying to create one in Denny Avdia. And I think eventually we may be able to do that. But as of right now, we don't have a true 3-and-D wing on the roster. So OG. Now, again, just like with Jordan Poole, there has been reports that linked OG Anunoby with the Washington Wizards. Now, obviously, his situation is different. Toronto doesn't have to get rid of him. They got a nice little core with him, Scotty Barnes, Siakam. So, whether it's to free up cap space, but they have a nice core to have some chemistry. So the GM over there, he's not going to be so quick to trade OG like Bob Myers would be with Jordan Poole or whoever the GM is. If Bob Myers indeed is not the GM over at Golden State anymore. So, again, his name has been linked to the Wizards. So looking at his stat line, he averaged around 16.8 points a game, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, shot 47.6 from free field goal, 38.7% from 3. Again, y'all, 38.7% from 3 and 83.8 from the free throw line. So he can shoot, he can defend. He's a dog. He's got an attitude. I love it. I've been a big voice, and if there's even a small chance to get OG, you got to grab him. We need a 3-and-D wing. We need a guy who's going to defend the best player on the team, a guy who can defend and shoot from behind the arc. Now, while Denny Avia, definitely defensive-wise, he is above average, all the way to elite level defense. He's a shot away from being a true 3-and-D. I think playing behind a guy like OG Anunoby can help elevate his game. I think OG will fit right in DC. No matter how they go forward with the point guard position, whether it's a rookie or a seasoned veteran, having a 3-and-D wing like OG Anunoby, that's a win-win. And let's jump into his salary, because again, his salary is not very bad, especially if you look at the fact that Kyle Kuzma is looking around from anywhere $20 to $25 million contract per year. That is, looking at OG's contract, he has a 4-year contract for $72 million. So year 1, he makes $16.7 million. Year 2, $17.3. Year 3, $18.6. And year 4 is a player option. But if he kicks in, it's going to be $19.9 million, 20, pretty much rounded up $20 million a year. So if you were able to, would he fit in DC? It's kind of like Jordan Poole. You know what I'm saying? Like, I say that you can't really fit Jordan Poole and Bradley Beal in the same backcourt. It would have to be Poole being a younger replacement for Bradley Beal and sending him to Golden State. And it's the same thing with OG, because, yeah, you could play Kuzma at the 4, but Kyle Kuzma, in my opinion, is going to have to take less money, around 15 to 20, around what OG makes, for him to re-sign and come back here, because really he's a cheaper replacement and he plays defense at a high level. Kyle Kuzma, he worked on his defense, but he's not a lockdown defender. OG is. He fits the mold. He's cheaper. He's younger. It's a win-win, man. I think it's definitely a win-win. I think, but the only way he fits is Kyle Kuzma in the sign and trade. Because he would have to replace him again. With them going forward with KP, which I think out of the two between Kyle Kuzma and Kristaps Porzingis, I definitely think KP is the candidate to re-sign and stay here long term. I think Kuzma's going to look at other teams. Now, Kuzma does like DC, and this organization has given him a chance to kind of find his way as a scorer, utilize his size. But again, if you indeed are trying to build around Bradley Beal and or KP, you got to find cheaper and younger options to surround him with. And I think OG would be a really good option, because again, he is a true 3-and-D wing. So looking at his contract again, he doesn't hit $20 million till year 4, and that's a player option. So, you're already, significantly less money than a $20 to $25 million a year contract through Kyle Kuzma. So I definitely think this is an option. Now, the question is, this is the big question here, is, does Toronto entertain this? Because like I said, they really don't need to trade him. Now, I'm not familiar with their cap situation, but, if you look at a young core, man, there's really no reason to move him, because if they had to, they would have moved him 1-2 years ago, maybe 3. He has value. He is a young player who can defend and shoot at a high level. Again, shooting 38.7% from 3. So I think you have to entertain the idea, if indeed he's available. I think I think that Kyle Kuzma is definitely a candidate for a sign trade. And so, but the KP is the piece that I would sign long term. And I think as long as he's healthy, which obviously is always a question with Kristaps Porzingis, but I think Kyle Kuzma, he, I don't, I'm kind of 50-50 with him being back and him going somewhere else. I don't think it's a lock. I think KP is more of a lock than Kyle Kuzma is. And if he doesn't want to stay, definitely consider OG Anunoby because he is younger and his contract is less. So, I mean, it's a win-win for the Washington Wizards. So, before we roll tonight, I'm going to get into the playoffs and look at the current playoffs and who I think is going to win and go from there. But before we move on, tonight's episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. Now, new with PrizePicks is $1 million daily Superflex promotion for the NBA playoffs and NBA Finals. Every day of the NBA Finals or playoffs, one PrizePicks user will win a chance of becoming a millionaire. Ooh. One entry placed after 8 a.m. Eastern time zone will be randomly selected each day. Whoever placed that entry will be given a 6-pick flex with the following payouts. 6 correct picks is $1 million. 5 correct picks is $80K. 4 is $16K. Full details can be found at prizepicks.com/million. You must opt in at this link to be eligible for the $1 million entry. Once you opt in, all you have to do is play the game like normal, and you could be the lucky winner. Man, I might have to roll with that. But you're asking, how does PrizePicks work? Well, you pick 2 to 6 players, and they score more or less than a PrizePicks projection. You can win up to 25 times your money on any entry. That is right, 25 times your money on any entry. No competing against other people. It's just you versus the projections available. PrizePicks offers projections on any sport that you can watch. This includes the NBA, the NFL, Major League Baseball, the NHL, PGA golf, college football, men's and women's college basketball, soccer, the WNBA, esports, NASCAR, tennis, MMA, boxing, disc golf, Euro basketball, cricket, and more. Entries can be made in 60 seconds or less. It's that easy, safe, and fast withdrawals. Currently operational in over 30 states and our neighbors to the north and Canada. Download the PrizePicks app or go to prizepicks.com to sign up and play daily fantasy sports. First-time users can receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100 with promo code locked on. If you deposit $100, PrizePicks will give you $100. If you deposit $50, PrizePicks will give you $50. Don't forget to enter promo code locked on and sign up for an instant deposit match up to $100. So we're going to dive into the playoffs. As you know, it has been a wild year for the NBA playoffs. So let me go ahead and pull that up for everybody. And we're getting crunch time. Now, the Western Conference Finals. Now, I don't know about you, but, the fact that the Lakers and the Heat are in the position they are now, and they were both playing teams, I'm just saying. So maybe there is something to this whole playing tournament. I'm just saying. But Lakers, let's see, tomorrow night at home, Denver opens up against the LA Lakers at 8:30 Eastern time. So definitely tune in. That is going to be a pivotal matchup. And I don't know which way I'm going. You want to say Denver because, again, Jokic, Murray, but you can't count out the Lakers, man. Anthony Davis has really bounced back this year. LeBron's LeBron. And you got players like Lonnie Walker stepping up. So it's just, who would I choose for tomorrow night? Man, I'm going to roll with Denver. They win by 5. I'm going to roll with Denver. Now, May 17th, the Boston Celtics host the Miami Heat. So who do I choose? And that is 8:30 Eastern time again. So who do I choose between Boston and Miami? This is hard. This is going to be a good finals this year. I'm telling you, because you can never discount Boston because Jason Tatum he's him. But Jimmy Butler, that is the matchup I want to see. It's Jimmy Butler and Jason Tatum. That is box office, man. So, man, I'm going to say Miami shocks Boston at home. And I see Miami taking game 1. So definitely let me know how you guys think, who you got winning. And definitely, like I said, this episode is part 1 of Jordan Poole and OG Anunoby and would they fit here? And if they did, what would it take to acquire them? So definitely later today or whenever you watch this, but definitely Tuesday is the NBA draft lottery. So we're going to do a live video, and there's just a lot going on with the Locked On Network when it comes to the NBA draft lottery. So definitely tune in. And then and obviously this week we're going to do part 2 of Jordan Poole and OG Anunoby. So again, Thanks for making Locked On Wizards your first listen every day, everydayers. Tomorrow on the show is the NBA Draft Lottery. Let's hope for number 1, but was fear for number 10. So again, I appreciate everybody. It's been real tonight. Like I said, I'm rolling solo tonight. Definitely, appreciate everybody tuning in tonight. And just get ready for this draft lottery and get ready for the off season. It's gonna be a wild one, y'all. So, all right, everybody, peace and hail to the Wizards.